Hi, it's Jen Tracy, and this is I'm doing a double video today. Just shot one, but I switched my shirt, and I didn't mention that I have cut off my hair. It's the spring thing, you know. Montreal finally, the snow is melting, and it's time to pretend that it's not summer, but that it's heading towards summer. Now there is some banging up above, so hopefully that's not going to be too loud for all of you. And this video fits into the Mavenclad for MS theme. I just shot one that was quite long, so I just wanted to do another one to talk about advocacy around it. As many of you know that are already doing Mavenclad, you need to go through blood work and to make sure that your white cell count, your lymphoids, are increasing over time, because what happens with Mavenclad is the cells, the B and D lymphoids get killed and new cells replace them, which means your immune system goes down. And in my last video, I was just talking about being on week 13 and a half, and how I feel like I'm swimming through molasses, like my energy is quite low, but also it's just a feeling in my system that I have where I feel very lethargic, and I'm doing my best to carry on with my life, even though I feel a lack of motivation, which is unusual for me. So I'm as I was saying in my last video, I'm being a witness to that. And one of the things I want to talk about is just an interesting circumstance that happened to me. So last summer, or I guess, yeah, it was probably in the early summer, I met a young fellow that lives with MS, and he was getting a treatment for a medication that is through an infusion, and honestly, I'm not sure which one it was. And we were talking, and he was young, and he was very distressed and a lot of grief about his life. So I was sitting in the chair to get blood work. It was blood work for the tuberculosis test. And so we were chatting, and I was there for quite a while, just because the nurse was very busy, so I didn't have a chance to, I had to wait quite some time. And then talking to him, he mentioned something about a MS picnic that happens in Montreal. So I thought that'd be kind of cool to go to. I don't really connect with other people living with MS. And in fact, when I was first diagnosed, I wanted nothing to do with MS, because I thought that if I didn't think about it, it would just go away. That did not work, though, especially as the fatigue continued to grow in my life. So that was an interesting learning. So I went to the picnic, and I met this woman who was just a powerhouse. And she's like, I told her I was thinking of going on Mavenclad, and how I was going to need to have this blood work. And this is like 7 months before I'm jumping through all the hoops to get on the Mavenclad that this happened. And she gave me some great advice. She said, you know, you can call in Montreal, it's called CLSC, the government agency, and ask for a social worker. And I can ask for people to come into the house to do blood work. So I don't have to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, head out the door, walk 25 minutes to get to the blood clinic, which I'm capable of doing, I have to say, but that time of the morning is pretty rough for me. And then waiting in the waiting room, which could be at least an hour. And oh yeah, you're lining up outside the door before 7 to even get in, which is, you know, another whole energy kind of suck. So waiting, and then going in and having the blood work, and then walking home. Now, yes, I could take a cab, but, you know, I thought, well, I'll do this. So it's quite tiring, right? And then I work from home, and that, you know, if I get up that early, I'm not really greatly functional to do work, especially often my work starts at noon, because I work with clients online in another time zone. So 3 hours later, so it's kind of a bit of a challenge. So she said, you know, you can do this. So I thought that was a great idea, and I called the organization and I asked, you know, explain the situation. They said, oh, well, you can just come in and meet with a social worker. So I went, and I was kind of nervous, about asking about this help. And I explained to the woman, I said, I would like that service. I don't need it all the time, but I would like to have it during the time that I'm on recovering from this medication for two reasons. One is lower immune system, and possibly a lot less energy, potentially, right? So she talked with the nurses, and they said, yeah, no problem. You just get your neurologist to send us the information, the paperwork, and we will take care of it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to advocate for myself, for something for me, some self-care, a very loving thing to do. And what happened was I did go to my neurologist, and I sold him on the idea. And at that particular clinic where my neurologist is, there was an amazing nurse, just great person. But she decided to leave her job around the time I was accepted on Mavenclad. So I was able to work out a few things with her around details. And then she was gone. So then when I got to that point where I took my first week, I realized I needed to get on this avocation process to make sure that I would get it set up. And so I tracked down a nurse at the main neurology clinic in Montreal, and fortunately through her, she faxed through all the paperwork to the government agency, and eventually I was called by somebody. And I explained my situation, and they were asking about my mobility. Because in many cases, if you are mobile, as I am, their reasoning is, no, we're not going to provide this service for you. And I said, well, I work from home to manage my energy. And if I have to get up early in the morning and get out and do something like that, it takes all I have. And also, I'm worried about my immune system, give the list of everything. So anyway, I hear back eventually, and I was rejected from someone coming into the home. And I said, well, it's a lot for me to go to the clinic, and I explained what I've already told you about walking there, waiting. And so this woman, this nurse said to me, well, we can give you another option. What we can do is we can schedule a time for you. And so I said, well, that would be better if I have a time, then I don't have to wait as long or line up or get there as early in the morning. So I thought it's not as great as having someone come to your house, but there are other people probably more in need. So I'll let that go. And so then I didn't hear back, so I had to call again. So there's many phone calls later. And in a culture that is predominantly French, and I've chosen to live in this culture, but my French is horrible. So, because my sweetie is here at school, so that was my choice to do that. So what happened was I finally talked to the nurse again, and I just made it really clear with her around my energy management. And I said, I understand I'm not physically disabled, but I need to explain to you that fatigue is a disability and is very limiting. So what happened that I'm very satisfied with in the end is that I will go to a location that's not a regular blood location, so there won't be the massive lineups. I have an appointment. It's a very short walk for me. It's only about 10 minutes, which I can manage, no problem. And it's not at 7 in the morning. It's a little early, but it's 8:15. So I'm grateful for that. And now what I'm promising myself is that I'm going to advocate, because if you're doing Mavenclad, you know that you have blood work usually. I mean, it may not be the case for everybody, but 60 days after your second dosage on week 5. So after week 5, 60 days after that, so it's basically the first time you have your blood work. So 2 months after your second dosage, then 3 months after your second dosage, then 4 months, then 6 months. So I asked the nurse, can I schedule all these appointments? And she said, each time you go, you can book your next appointment. So I'm very happy, because my goal here is, even after I'm done all the Mavenclad appointments and have my blood work done for them, that the following year, which would be, the 12th month, that I also can schedule that one. So this is my goal, is that I can have this set up ongoing to support myself even long after Mavenclad. My intention is not to do Mavenclad in the second year. I came into my decision on that when I was told by my neurologist, if my MRI looks good, that won't be necessary. So in my mind, my MRI is going to look great, and I am going to carry on with my life, knowing that if I need to come back and do Mavenclad in the future, that is a possibility for me. So advocating for oneself, it does take energy, and that's why it's easy to give up. It would have been easy for me to give up in this situation, like just all the phone calls and following up and that whole process. And I could have allowed my disappointment around someone not coming into the house in my situation. I think for other people, if I had been a different person, and I may have pushed for that harder. But I'm satisfied with the outcome, so I feel good. I feel glad and joyful that I was able to, even in this state of molasses, of struggle, to just commit, right? To commit to my goal, right? Of getting that support. And it feels good. Like now I know that that's in place, and I will go and I'll be taken care of. And in that situation, they do have chairs that I can kick back in, like a lounge chair. And I'm very, I can get a little queasy and feel close to passing out with blood work. So again, really advocating for what's most important for me. And I'm just encouraging you through this video by sharing this story that I hope, and I know a lot of people living with MS are constantly advocating for themselves. So first of all, I want to just say power to you, good on you for doing that. If you sometimes feel like giving up, take a break or whatever, but just get back at it, because the reality is only you know what you need. Just like I know what I need, and I know what I can handle and what I can't. So knowing that I can walk to the clinic and that I get an appointment and that this is going to be super easy for me feels so much better, even if it's not the convenience of somebody coming into my home. And, you have to decide for yourself, what is the best path for you? And, Mavenclad can, depending on who you are as a person and how you respond to it, it can have an impact on your life. Some people have had some miraculous experiences so far. Other people are really struggling well on their journey with Mavenclad. But whatever that is for you, it's real. It's not in your mind. You're not making it up. It is tangible. And, whatever care you need to take care of yourself, go for it. Because you are deserving of that. And, we need to propel ourselves forward in our life journey on Mavenclad as part of this process, or just even for that matter, living with MS. So there you go. That's a second supersonic long round video for you. Again, I'm Jen DeTracy. Thank you for tuning in. Please write your comments below if you know of someone who would benefit from this video or any of my other videos within Mavenclad, or even within my channel of Life Beyond Fatigue. Please share it, because this is what it's about, right? We care about one another, and we care about this, about sharing our experiences and our journey to help other people. I have found people living with MS to be very generous in their support and encouragement for me in my life when I've asked for help. And this is the giving back that takes place. So that's all I'll say for today. We'll see you soon. Have a great rest of your day or evening or morning whenever you're listening to this video.